Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Welcome to my video. I'm going to feature today this card, which I think you'd probably call a sort of a centre fold easel card. So it'll be hard to show easel cards with your camera at this angle. Using the Boho Indigo Product Medley. I've been playing with this medley, this product medley, a little bit over the last few days, and I really don't think I'd done it justice until I saw this this fancy fold card on Pinterest, and thought I just had to give it a go. So as you can see, here's our results here. Anyone who does my classes by mail or did them in May will recognise this initial fold. It's a very similar fold to a couple of cards I featured very recently. This one has a slight variation in the fact that it has a little easel at the bottom there, which with a little foot stop there that stops the card from falling forward. So yeah, it's a combination of two different sorts of fancy fold cards, and I think it's quite lovely, and it really shows off the paper, which I think personally is the highlight of this Boho Indigo Product Medley. It's the paper is just beautiful. And the vases as well are really, really lovely. And I'll talk about those a little bit further on. Just bear with me, I'm going to make sure that my sound is okay. So I'll just find my video on my iPad. Here we are. Where's that one? So just making sure I can hear myself. Yep, I can. Good, excellent. So, not that I want to, but here we go. So, I'm going to put all the measurements of all the basic fold and all the panels and all the little layers in the comments of this, in the description of this video. So don't worry too much. It is a fairly complicated cutting and scoring exercise. So I have actually taken a photo of a template for you that you can measure off. I do everything in inches, so please bear with me if you're a centimetres person. I'm hoping the conversion is quite easy. I just haven't done it for this one. Okay, so let's get started. As I mentioned, the Boho Indigo Product Medley is in the current catalogue. It's actually on page 9 of the catalogue if you have one in front of you, or it's online if you just search Boho Indigo. The medley itself comes with the dies and the stamp set that you see here in shot. It also comes with some wonderful, as also the paper that I've also mentioned, and it's 48 sheets of 6x6 paper. And the really great thing I love about this this paper is not just the colour and the design, the fact that each design you get 8 sheets, so you have plenty of sheets to play with within that 48 sheets. I think it's 8 of each. So wait a minute, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 designs, 6 12s, no, 6 8s, yeah, so 8 sheets of each design, and they've got some lovely patterns on either side, sort of floral sort of shades of, this is our new in colour, this is our Misty Moonlight, or Misty Midnight, Misty Moonlight, so it's a lovely blue, and anyone who knows me knows I'm a sucker for blue. So we've got 48 sheets of those beautiful papers, plus also we get some die cut elements there. So there's 2 sheets of die cut elements with some really nice ferns in the garden green with gold. You get 4 sheets of these sentiment boxes with some flowers, some extra gold embossed flowers, so that's all in gold, which is really handy if you like using those boxes and not having to worry about die cutting, so they're already cut for you. Plus you get, and this is the real highlight for me, 6 sheets of these already embossed Whisper White panels. So you can see there, probably see in the light from my window, that they're already lightly embossed. We've got a diamond shape, a sort of a overlapping circle shape, and a floral star design there. And they are really, really nice and sort of just really complement the papers as well. So as you can see, I'm guarding them preciously because I actually and have used over half of them already. So yeah, they're very, very, very special. You also get these really cute little sort of felt flowers. They're sort of small and large. They have, and I'll bring them up a little bit closer. You have sort of they're a felt material, and they've got a little wooden bead in the centre. So you've got some large ones and some small ones. There's lots and lots of those there. I've already used quite a few. And you also get this wonderful ribbon. So you get a double ribbon pack. So you get this really nice blue one, which sort of has a frayed edge. It's really, really nice. And of course a bit of gold. So that's sort of like a ruche gold there as well, which really sets off the stamp set. Okay, so we'll put those away. Today I'm going to be, with our card, we're going to be featuring the stamp set, the dies and the paper as the highlights of this design I've got today. So I just want to pop those aside for a moment. This is the basic fold of the card here, and as I say, don't panic too much. I'm not expecting you to be able to get this just from one look. I do have a little template that I'll pop in the comments that'll show you how to score and cut that. But fundamentally, I'll bring the template in. Here it is. Okay, so fundamentally you've got a 5 3/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. I don't know if you can see that completely in my viewer there, and you score it. Well, first of all, 1 1/4 inches in from each side. You cut from 1 inch through to 5 1/4 inches, so straight up there. So 1 1/4 inches all the way between 1 inch and 5 1/4 inches on both sides. Then you score, so the dotted lines are scores. You score in at 1 inch, at 1 inch from the bottom, 1 inch from the bottom, 2 inches from the bottom, and 5 1/4 inches from the bottom. And then you do another score between your cuts, 4 1/4 inches between the two cuts. So that's where you get this sort of stepped, folded effect here. You also do score all the way across, making sure you can see that, all the way across your whole sheet at 8 1/2 inches. And so that gives you the little easel at the bottom. Okay, so as I say, I will put those measurements into the comments so you can get those later. Okay, so we have our scored and cut base card. I might just sit down now. So we might as well decorate this first. And I've cut all the pieces that we'll need for that. So just bear with me while I fish them out. Okay, so basically the card folds up like this. Lies flat like that. So we need panels to fill in these surfaces here. So what I have is for the front, and this is all in our Misty Moonlight. For the front I have a strip of Misty Moonlight which is 7/8 of an inch by 5 5/8 of an inch. That goes on there, and it goes with a piece of designer series paper which is 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/2 inches. So they're going to go there. Okay. Then we have two pieces of, again, Misty Moonlight, 1 1/8 inch wide by 3 1/8 inch long, and we've got two of those, and they go along with two pieces of designer series paper which are 1 inch by 3 inches exactly. There they go on either side there. And then for our centre we've got another piece of Misty Moonlight which is 3 1/8 inches square. There we go, and that goes along with a piece of designer series paper which is 3 inches exactly. So you can see where all those sit in the scheme of things there. If you're very careful with the way you cut your designer series paper, given that you've got a 6 by 6 inch piece of designer series paper. This basically takes exactly one piece of designer series paper, and I just wanted to keep those two little pieces there. This is all I had left of my 6x6 sheet. So I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm making a card, I end up with pieces of designer series paper that it just feels such a shame to throw them away. So I pop them in my craft stash and think I'll always come back to those, but I never do. So I end up with a mountain of them. So it's really nice to come across a card where basically I am using the whole sheet and nothing will be wasted or put away into the pile of shame. So that's all basically I had left, which is really, really good. And for our little easel, which I'll bring in now but I'll position later, I've got a 2x3 at 2 3/8 by 5 5/8 inch piece of cardstock, and that's matched with a 2 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of designer series paper. So what I might do is I'll lay out all those measurements here and just let you focus in on all of those so you know you can cut those yourself. So if I lay them all out with their measurements up, and you'll be able to pause on that and you'll know that that's what you have to cut for your card. Okay, so I might just leave those there, let you have a little bit of a look, write them down if you want to. So there's 2 of that one, that and that and that. Okay, so I'll just leave that there. We might as well start putting our panels together. So I'm going to grab some of our wonderful glue and I'll start layering these up. So I'm going to use this lovely sort of diamond side facing up, slightly different to the one I did as my sample. I'm just going to pop those on there, and as you see, it didn't matter that I wrote on them because I'm going to be covering it over. There's there. These are our 2 side pieces. Just like that. It's our square. Just like that. And the last one. This is our one for the bottom. Put extra glue on that. Oh, glue everywhere. Okay, let's position that, straighten it up, and we're done. I'll just get a little bit of that glue off there. Don't want it sticking to everything. All right, so we've got our our little design panels all glued up there, so I'll start putting them onto our card. Okay, so we've got our 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 here, which pops just straight into the middle. Your glue will work. Just right there. Oh, and the card base is obviously, it's not Whisper White, it's actually Very Vanilla. So I think the Very Vanilla goes really well with the designer series paper in this case because it's got a very vanilla background. You have to get a new glue. Just wiggle it into place so you've got a very, very, very small sort of border of Very Vanilla around the edge of your blue. There we are. And the one along the front. There we are. That's just so pretty. That really appeals to me. Okay, and our last one, which goes on this surface here. excuse the just wibbledy things. So this is going to be the foot of our easel, and we'll pop a little footrest there to stop everything falling forward. Okay, so that is fundamentally our little centrefold easel card there. So hopefully you like that. I'll make sure it's in the centre of my, yeah, that's cool. Okay, so you know, that's really pretty. I think we could probably stop there if we really wanted to, but that's really, really nice. So we'll pop that aside for the moment, let the glue dry, and we'll bring in the decorations that I've got here. So I'm going to be stamping certain elements of the stamp set. We've got the vases, we've got a couple of vases, 3 vases, our little flower, and I've got a sentiment that I'll bring in a minute. So I'll just grab a scrap of Whisper White, of Very Vanilla. I'm going to just stamp them on that. Just grab a scrap, you won't need very much. We're going to stamp in the vases, in 2 of the vases in Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to choose the skinny, sort of taller vase. Now this stamp is amazing. The detail is just so fine, and it comes up so crisp and clear. It's just excellent quality. You can actually, it looks like it's been printed by a computer. It's just so clear and so crisp. I'll just bring that a little bit closer and you can see just how the fine detail of that is just crystal clear. Okay, so then the other really, really lovely sort of etched vase is this one. I'm going to do that in Misty Moonlight as well. And I just love this one. This one is just glorious as well, if you see that. I really love those flowers on there. And speaking of flowers, in our new yellow colour, which is called Bumblebee, I'm going to pop 2 lots of these cute little flowers as well. 1 and 2. Now, a bit of a hint with these photopolymer stamps. I don't know if anyone has had issues with getting them to stamp completely. Sometimes you miss a little bit of the stamp. It's just because they're so hard. To make sure I get success with my photopolymer stamps, I actually have a foam mat underneath my grid paper. It's just a plain foam mat. I think this one was out of an old stamping platform that I used to use before I joined Stampin' Up. But you could use a silicone mat as well if you have that. But it's definitely, if you're using photopolymer stamps, definitely worth investing a couple of dollars in that. So those are the ones I need to die cut. So the dies are here somewhere. The dies are here. And you can see we've got all of them. We've got the tall, slender vase. We've got the sort of beautiful floral one. We've got this really nice big one, which I'll show you in a moment, and various leaves and other vases as well. So it's a lovely die set there. Anyway, I'm going to be die cutting those out, but I won't make you watch me. So I have actually already die cut them here. And there we have our vase, a couple of little flowers, and our tall vase. So there they all are. Okay, so to mount them up onto our card, I have a stitched square. So this stitched square is, I'd say, 2 5/8 square. So that's from our Stitched Shapes die set. I'm going to be popping these on there in a second, but first of all I'm going to pop the big beautiful vase that you saw before, this one, smack bang in the middle. I'm going to stamp that directly onto our stitched square, sort of like a bit of a background. You could die cut it, but I thought it's just as nice stamped directly. I'm going to pop it in the centre and probably more towards the bottom than the top of the square. There we are. So that's really nice. That's sort of almost like a wicker vase, or sort of like a, yeah. So that's there. You can see that. Okay, so that's, as I say, stamped directly. Then with some glue, I'm going to bring in our other two vases and put them in front of it. So it looks like they're actually sitting in front of it on the table sort of thing. So to give that feeling of perspective, they're actually, I'm putting the bases of those slightly lower than my brown vase. So it looks like they're in front of it. Just a bit of perspective. And the other one as well. Just a bit of glue. And I'll put this one off to the side a little bit. There we are. Okay, so it looks like we've got our three beautiful vases sitting on the table in our home. Okay, so now I've got my Bumblebee Flowers. So here I've got 2 lots of 3, so I've got 6 flowers here. So I'm going to glue one of them directly. So I'm going to have them sort of looking like they're in our big vase at the back. So I'm going to put one there. So it doesn't matter, they're going to overlap our square a tiny bit, but that's sort of really, really nice, I think. And then I'm going to put the second lot, the second bunch of flowers, onto a couple of dimensionals and put them on the same. So probably just so they don't look too symmetrical, make sure I've put them. I'll pop them there. There we are. So there we are. So it looks like our big brown vase has some pretty flowers in it, sort of overflowing. Okay, so this little panel I'm going to pop onto the middle of our card like that. You could pop it on dimensionals as well, but I think we've got enough 3D-ness happening here, so we'll just pop it on just like that. Now the measurements here, this card actually comes in at 4 1/4 inches wide, so depending on your envelopes that you're using, you probably shouldn't come too far over the top of the card, because you might not fit it into your envelope, which would be absolutely horrible to not be able to give it to someone. So we'll just pop that just like that. Okay, so that's really sweet. What I thought I might add to this one as well is one of our little beady wooden bead flowers, just for something a little bit more special. I'm going to pop him just sort of down here. Looks like he's fallen out of a vase and he's sitting on the table at the foot of our vases. So just a tiny touch of glue and bring that one and firm it down. Just like that. Oh, not enough glue. Too much glue or not enough? Come on. There we go. Try again. There we go. So there we are. We have our sort of panel decorated there, which is really sweet. I hope you really like that. I do. Okay. Fine. So what we might do now is actually, the last thing we need to do is decorate our foot there. That's going to stop our card from falling forward and make it sit up nicely like that. So what I have again, and I've die cut these already, is these is from the Stitched So Sweetly die set. It's a really nice sort of sentiment box. I've actually done it in the midnight misty moonlight. It's just it has a sort of almost a exotic feel to me, sort of like a sort of oriental feel, sort of the curves of it. So I really like that one. And I've also cut myself a tiny little stitched rectangle, just one of the smallest one of the set. And what I'm going to do is bring in the thank you from the Boho Indigo stamp set, and I'm going to stamp my thank you on this here. So just bear with me. I'm going to, obviously I think that sentiment box is a little bit long, so I'm going to actually trim it down. So I'm going to put my thank you at one end. There we are. That went even for a change, it went straight. Okay, so I'm going to trim this end of the sentiment box but I don't want to lose my lovely stitching, so I wanted to show you how you can do that. You can trim down your sentiment boxes using the stitched dies, which I've lost my dies. Okay, so here's my stitched rectangle dies, which has now gone one on the floor. So this is the little one I've actually used, you can see there, but I want to actually cut it off so that it's only sort of, you know, what, 2 inches long rather than the 2.5 that it actually is. So what I do is I'll grab another die which is bigger than the one I'm using, and what I'll do is I'll pop it through my die cutting machine again, with this just one edge of the die covering over my sentiment box. So imagine I'm going to pop that through my die cutting machine, and I'm going to get a stitched edge just there where I want to cut off my die, and that's going to basically give me a stitched rectangle basically of any size that I actually want. So I might bring, against my better judgment, I'll bring my die cutting machine in. I don't usually do this because everything wobbles around like a trampoline, which if you've listened to my lives before, it's unavoidable at the moment because we have a very old house and everything wobbles on the floorboards. So I've got my larger die here. I want to position it just about there. I'll pop that through very carefully. There we go. Snap. And there we have, we've trimmed down, move that out of the way. We've trimmed down our little rectangle now, so it's exactly the right length, with the stitching going all the way around, you know, to the untrained eye. It looks like it's, you know, perfect like that. There we go. So that's the exact size that I want for my little foot. So I'm going to bring in my beautiful oriental looking stitched so sweetly sentiment box. I'm going to position that sort of middle, halfway, maybe a little bit forward of halfway on my, because you have to imagine where you want your card to, where you want it to stay naturally. I'm going to pop that one there. That's straight. Yep, looks pretty good. And then this other little one, the one that I've put my thank you on, I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals as well. So there's 3 little dimensionals there, little foam squares. And centre that onto our Misty Moonlight sentiment box. There we are. So thank you. It's quite a simple sentiment. It's just block letters, but it's really, really, really nice. And you can see now that that stops our card from, I'm going to try to put it in the right direction for you, that stops our card, or will stop your card from falling forward, gives it a little footrest. Okay, so that is my card for you today. I hope you really like that. I know I do. So I've got the 2 there, basically the same except for the different designer series paper. Oh, and this one's got the little flower on it, but you know, they are really, really nice. They fold up into the envelope. This one pops up under there, so that's how it folds up into your envelope. Then, you know, sits beautifully on display. Hopefully your grateful recipient displays it for a long, long time. Okay, so there they are. Anyway, so that, as I say, that is the Boho Indigo Product Medley. You basically buy one code and you buy everything you need to decorate these beautiful cards with these vases and designer series paper and the other elements as well. I might just show you if I can find it in my craft room. I'll show you one that I made yesterday, which I really wasn't very happy with, but it shows other elements as well. This is just a plain sort of fold card. I've used the 3 vases there that you've seen me use again today. I've used our flowers there and our little felt flower there. I actually used one of the die cut elements for there and some of the ribbon as well. And here on the background, you can see it in the sun, that actually had that beautiful embossed panel as well behind there. So what I'm doing is I'm using them in strips, sort of 2-inch strips so that I can get as much use out of them as I possibly can. And inside there I've got our little flowers with a bunch of birthday love to you. So the stamp set has some really nice sentiments in it that can use for any number of occasions. I'll just bring it back in and show you. It's got a bunch of birthday love to you, thank you, which you've already used, sorry you're feeling blue, which obviously is a play on our colours that we've got, and such happy news. So as you can see, you've got any number of occasions covered with just the one stamp set in this wonderful Boho Indigo Medley. And also another good thing is when you run out of paper, you don't have to buy the whole set again. You just can buy a refill which has all the paper elements of the medley, so that you can just keep on creating long after the first set is gone. Anyway, so that's really all I wanted to show you today. Hope you like that video. I'll put some proper pictures in as my thumbnail, but in a proper angle so you can hopefully see that a little bit more effectively. It's available in the current 2020 annual catalogue. It's very, very new and very, very trendy. I think you'll find something that we can use for many, many years to come. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you don't have a demonstrator and you live in Australia and you would like to know anything about Stampin' Up products and the opportunity of joining, please send me a message. Pop over to my Facebook page. I have links for that in the comments as well. Pop over to the Facebook page and like it and follow it, and because I have lots of events, online classes, in-home classes if you live in the Hobart region, and giveaways and stuff like that really make it a whole lot of fun. So anyway, it's been lovely that you joined me today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you give that a go. Would love to see what everyone comes up with, and I will see you all next time.